Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll show you how I made these really quick and easy army huts for some 40k and kill team terrain. I made these terrain pieces a few weeks ago and I took some photographs for each step of the build, so I thought I'd put together a quick video just showing you how I built them in case you wanted to build something like this for your tabletop. Now they're nice, quick and simple, they cost hardly anything to make, and so most of the stuff here is just junk free packaging, cardboard, things like that. And you know, they're not super detailed, you're not going to win any prizes here for this terrain, but they are going to serve a purpose on the tabletop. You're going to get some nice obscuring terrain for 40k and some real thematic pieces if you want to build an army style base. And so these are going to be in my Catachan and my Cadian army terrain sets that I'm putting together. I want to do like a jungle, almost airfield kind of thing, and so that's what I'm working on. But I needed something quite big and I thought these would fit the bill and work nicely. So altogether I made these two small ones and one large one, and so here's the two little ones. And then I used the Astra Militarum Cadian models just as a guide for the size and made sure they could also sit on the roof as well, which is pretty cool. I played this terrain in Kill Team yesterday with my Imperial Guard for the first time. Check that video out if you haven't seen it already. And if you like anything you see in the video where the models are concerned, please check out my sponsor Firestorm Games, where you can save up to 20% on all your hobby products, including the Imperial Guard and all the different models. I'll put a link in the description below that will take you right to their website, and then hopefully you can make some great savings there, support Firestorm Games, and also support the channel as I get a small commission for every sale made. So if you go and take a look, I really appreciate it, and thanks so much. So let's get started and I'll take you through the process of how I put them together. So the first step was to cut out some semicircles just to give me the height I wanted. So I wanted them to be at least 5 inches tall. That was the main thing, so I could use it in 40k as obscuring terrain. So these semicircles are 5-inch high, and then I looked around for different cardboard I had for the other dimensions. And I had this piece here from a Warcry set, one of the inserts for the old box. I thought this is perfect because it's already the right size and I could wrap it around these semicircles. So I measured up the width of the semicircles so that it matched it, and then I started putting those in and then just had a little go, like a test piece, to see how they would wrap around. And then I just scored each side to make sure they curved nicely and would stick to those inserts. And then I prepared some panels out of this corrugated cardboard that I got from an old shoebox. This stuff's perfect. You can buy corrugated card, but if you can find some packaging like I did here, you're going to get it totally free, which is going to be awesome. So yeah, you can see the detail on it, and it's quite sturdy as well, but I did need to put it on some other cardboard, so that black Warcry insert is going to be perfect as a base to stick all these panels on. So then I got the hot glue gun out, and then I just stuck down the bases of the semicircles until I had all 4 in place. And then I started to wrap around the Warcry insert, putting a little bit of glue around the sides first, and then eventually working my way around, gluing it all the way on. And then it was a little bit long, so I just trimmed that off and then stuck it all down so it was nice and neat. Then I moved on to the smaller 3 ones, so I made the semicircles not so high. I wanted them still to be able to cover like a tank or something like that behind it, so that was important. So I made sure it was high enough so that you wouldn't see it, you'd get a bit of cover from it. So that was my main objective with that. And so I did 3 altogether. In the photos I've only got 2. There's one in the drawer around the back of the room. So yeah, I've got 3 small ones altogether. I almost forgot about that. And then I went to town cutting out the panels. So I thought I'd do the big one first, and I cut out the panels and then stuck them on with the hot glue again on the end, and then just trimmed around the model. Then I put a little strip across there to hide any joins, and then started to wrap around the cardboard over the entire piece. So I just chose the biggest bits I had, wrapped them around, lots of hot glue, and then there's going to be a little seam down the middle we want to cover up. So I cut out a strip and then glued that on too. And then to finish, I wanted to put some doors, which you'll see later on. That was just cutting out some little squares. Then I went on to the smaller ones, and I had this weird shaped cardboard here from the shoebox, so I used those and then trimmed around. Here you can see the doors. My slides are a little bit out of order, so I put 2 sliding doors on this one, so you could imagine it as like a kind of mechanic hangar or something like that, where they keep all the tools or work on some of the weapons or tanks, I don't know, but yeah, that was the idea with the bigger one. Then we got the smaller one. I thought these could just be like their little hab blocks, if you like. So I just put doors that were the same size as the models. And there's all three, so I went through the same process with these as I did with the big one, just gluing that down. But what I didn't need to do was put any thicker card underneath. Because they're smaller, they held their own weight easily. And there we go, that's pretty much it. Nice and simple, really easy to build. And from that, I've got some nice big chunky terrain for a Warhammer 40k board. So this is going to fill up quite a bit of space on the tabletop. And by the time you put trees, bushes, vehicles even, and maybe some other models of terrain, like from Morlock box set, for example, that's going to work really nicely. And so all I did with these is sprayed them with an Army Painter Army Green can I had, gave them one coat, and that's them ready to go. Tabletop ready as they are, but I am going to do a bit more work to them. I'm going to put a bit of a wash on them, certainly at the bottom, a little bit of rust effect, and then I'm going to get some little posters like you see with Necromunda, and I'm going to weather those, print them off, weather them up, and then glue those on as well. Some propaganda style posters, which I think will be perfect for the Imperial Guard army. So there we go, a nice simple process, and I think you can get some really quick, easy terrain that costs hardly anything, and once you put some better terrain with it, like the trees, it does take away from just how simple they are. Here's some of the close-ups. So yeah, you can see, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It does look like some old metal sheds. And once I add some rust to it, I think it's going to work out really nicely. I might even do a little bit of lead belcher just sponged on in places too, so the metal's coming through a little bit. And once that's combined with the shade, I think it's going to work out nicely. This one had some of the worst cardboard from the shoebox that was crushed a bit. So what I might do with this is imagine it's been like blown up or something. So put like a hole in it and maybe some cotton wool smoke coming out. That might be pretty cool. So yeah, that's something I'm going to add to it later. And then there's the big one, and you can see you can fit the models on top. They stand on that seam really nicely, so you can get a sniper up there. You can even put one on top of the smaller huts. You could squeeze 3 on, but I think that's pushing it a little nudge, and they're just going to slide down. So maybe 3's not a great idea, but certainly 1 down the middle, that's going to work really well. They'll get some cover as they move around the buildings. You're going to hide the tanks even with that. So yeah, lots of opportunities. And then you can see here's one measured up against the door. And there's one of the models up against those bigger hangar doors to give you an idea of the scale. So that's it. Nice, quick, easy build, really cheap. And if you've got some junk lying around, maybe you'll want to give this a go for your 40k or kill team terrain. So I hope you enjoyed the video. A bit different to what I usually do, but I had those photos, so I thought, why not make a video? I had all the terrain out yesterday when I was practicing my kill team and playing my Imperial Guard kill team for the first time. And check that video out if you haven't seen it already. That's up on the channel. But I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you did like it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this. And don't forget to hit that notification bell too to join me here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible. And if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there. And I'll put a link for that in the description down below.